What are the top 3 mistakes that I see real estate investors making when they're investing in rental properties? Any guesses? Cool. I'm going to tell you what my 3 are. Here's the bad news, or maybe the intimidating news about these 3 things. I think that these 3 things are so critical that if you make these mistakes, you are potentially putting the entire fate of your investment at risk. No pressure. Cool. The good news about it is, though, that they're not complicated things. And as long as you know what they are, they're easy to avoid. Therefore, bringing the power of your investment and the fate of your investment back into your hands. So on one hand, I think these are very critical and intimidating, high pressure situations. On the other hand, easily remedied. So I'm going to give you the top 3 mistakes that I believe people investing in rental properties make. And then after those 3 things, I'm going to give you just a little bit of a bonus helpful thing. So stick around for that. Let's dive in. Mistake number 1 that I see people doing with rental properties, having no idea how they actually plan to profit from the rental property. If you grew up anything like me, you grew up with the mindset of, oh, if I own real estate, I'm profitable or I'm wealthy. That's all you got to do is you got to own the real estate. Well, to some degree, but there are specific ways that properties profit, and not all properties profit. So you need to know what those ways are and how to ensure, or at least project, because there's no guarantees, but you need to have a working knowledge of how you expect this particular property to perform. How's it going to profit? Don't just like put the blindfold on and aim the dart for the dartboard and hope it works. No, you need to have some kind of idea, because even when you have the idea, things could still go a little bit wrong. You don't want to go in blindly having no idea how you plan to profit, and then again, just aiming for that bullseye you can't really see. So an example of this would be a high-priced, expensive property in San Francisco. High-priced markets like that aren't known for monthly cash flow, so it's probably not going to be for monthly cash flow. How else are you going to do it? Everyone's like, oh, well, duh, in California, it's appreciation. Okay, cool, that's valid, but how much appreciation are you going to need over the amount of time that you hold the property in order to actually be profitable? Because don't forget, you're losing money every month, you're paying interest on the mortgage, you're paying expenses on the property. How much appreciation do you need to see in order for you to be profitable? And is that a feasible amount? These are the questions you want to ask. You don't want to just assume you'll get enough appreciation to actually be profitable. Know the number. Like, see if this is a feasible, realistic option for you. So that's number 1, having no idea where your profit's going to come from. Number 2, aiming for the cheapest properties with the highest projected returns. Take note of the word projected, because what's written on paper is not a guarantee. It's simply someone saying, I assume this property will make this much in returns. Whether that happens or not, may not happen. Always aiming for the cheapest properties. I realize they're tempting because they're easy to afford. The returns look great on them. But when you do that, you are taking on a significant amount of risk that you may or may not have the experience with to deal with. And if you don't know how to take all that risk on and the mitigations for that risk, that high return property that you bought for so cheap may not actually be profitable ever if you don't know how to manage it correctly. So yes, cheap properties with high returns can work out. They absolutely do. And a lot of investors specialize in those. But if that's all you ever aim for and you aren't actually very well versed on that particular strategy, I see people getting in trouble with cheap properties all the time, and then they're super frustrated and they're like, I'm not making any money, and oh my God, my life is hell. I can't sleep at night. These tenants are terrible. Well, can't say I didn't tell you so. Number 3, the third mistake that I see people make. So far we have 2. Number 1, not knowing where your profit's going to come from. And number 2, always aiming for the cheapest properties with no second thought. What is number 3? The number 3 biggest mistake I see rental property investors make is not staying in control of their investment. Obviously, there are no guarantees in anything. You can't always control the outcome, but what you can control is staying in control of your investment. Do you need to make a change? Do you need to fire someone, hire someone new? Do you need to, I don't know, evict the tenant? Do you need to, whatever the decision-making process is, I see so many people just like kick back and take a back seat and assume that this investment is going to keep running itself, whether you are running the rental property as the landlord or whether you have property managers on the property managing it for you. There should be eyeballs on everything, and you've got to be willing to make a move in order to make something happen. You control the direction of your investment. Mostly you can control the fate of it, but again, there's no guarantees, but certainly controlling the direction of it and making decisions. And they won't always be the easiest decisions, but you've got to make a decision because this is your business, this is your property, this is your investment. And if you aren't willing to make those decisions, you're going to get run over, period. So those are the 3 mistakes: not knowing where your profit's going to come from, always aiming for the cheapest properties, assuming they'll be fine, and not staying in control of your own investment. Now, what's the bonus that I promised you? For me, it's pretty exciting. It might be a little let down for you, but the bonus is I have videos for each of those 3 things that dive into more of the details behind each one and more of the considerations. So I'm going to link to all of those below. Consider it like the bonus package of information. Yeah, cool. So if you as an investor have made any of those mistakes, or if you can think of mistakes that you would rank up there as well as like the absolute deal breaker mistakes that people make, throw those in the comments. Let's put all the mistakes on the table, because certainly 3 is not an all-inclusive list, but to me, those 3 are the absolute biggest. So smash that like button if this video was helpful. I don't know, smash that like button if you've made any of those mistakes and live to tell about it. And comment your own mistakes. Let's all learn from each other. And cheers to rental property investing and controlling our own investment destiny.